Good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. It's Dr. Jan Fortman with Relationship Matters TV. I hope everyone is having a beautiful, beautiful morning, afternoon, or evening. Well, I'm here in Chicago, or right outside of Chicago, and the heat index today went up to 120 degrees. All I have to say is, I'm in air conditioning, but I stepped outside and that heat hit me like whoosh, and I stepped right back inside. I don't know what's happening, but I know that this heat is unbearable, and it seems like all the center of the United States, we are under, and even out in the West, this weather and this heat is, I just feel sorry for people who don't have air conditioners. But if you are anywhere where all this heat is, check on your neighbors, especially if they're seniors. Check on them. Just, and they might need water, they might need fans, whatever, but check on them to make sure that they're okay. So I want to get right into our show this evening here, because it's evening here. Because I have someone on the show who I've known for a little while. And he's a very, very special person. So let me tell you about Reverend. I'm going to say the right Reverend. The right Reverend. Arturo Barnes. So let me tell you a little bit about Arturo Barnes. He was born and raised in Chicago. And people will know this if you live in Chicago, in the South Shore community. He's an associate minister of True Light Church Baptist, where he serves as the director of Christian education, and he's also involved in Christian education at the district and state levels. He received a bachelor's degree in computer science. I don't know what that has to do with being a reverend, but I'm going to ask him. From Central State University, and currently sits on the board of directors of Central State National Alumni Association. He is also a proud member of Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity. Probably will make one of them signs or something that they do. Uh, he is also a member of MJM Speakers Circle Toastmasters Club. And does he hold the rank of president? I don't know, but he's just really brilliant at public speaking. And Reverend Arturo Barnes is a devoted husband and father, but most importantly, he is a servant of the one true God. So I'm going to bring to you right now the right Reverend Arturo Barnes. Good evening, Reverend Barnes. I'm calling you Arturo because that's how I know you.
Good evening, Dr. Foreman. Oh, wait a minute. What was this one of the signs he was talking about?
Oh, Lord. Yeah, look, A. Yeah.
That's right.
Okay. Yeah, I know. I'm surprised you don't have on your colors and all of that stuff. And I don't see anything behind you. Oh, wait a minute. Is that what
that's my crest. That's my fraternity crest right there.
I should have known. Well, Arturo, thank you so much for being my guest this evening. And I want to get right into it. I've got some questions that I want to ask you, but this is just a conversation. So now I know you from Toastmasters because we're both we're in MJM Speaker Circle, and it is the premier club in Chicago, Illinois. So you are an officer, correct?
Yes. Currently, I am the vice president of education, but I am also a past president of MGM Speaker Circle.
And I should know that. Okay, so what I want to ask you, the first question I want to ask you is, what made you decide that you wanted to be, should I say, a preacher? Okay, yeah. What made you decide that you wanted to be a preacher?
Well, the journey begins in 1983.
I was born by the river. Okay.
Well, it begins actually before then. I was one of those people that was born in the church. I was born in Mount Hermon Missionary Baptist Church on the south side of Chicago. And in 83, I joined to my current church, True Light. My mother, Charlotte Warren, was a professional educator, and she was also a well-known Christian educator across the city and the state of Illinois. So growing up, I was raised by a single mother, and I was often in her shadow. So before I tell you about what I wanted to do, I was going to tell you about everything that I didn't want to do.
Okay.
And let me tell you this. If you want to make God laugh, tell him what you're not going to do. That's going to make God laugh. Because if God has something for you, it's going to happen whether you realize it or not.
Okay.
My mother was well-known Christian educator. And in 1999, I was first asked to be a Sunday school teacher. I was a little hesitant to teach because teaching was my mother's thing. I want to do my own thing, but teaching was my mother's thing. But God worked that thing out, put me in front of young people. My first group of students were teenagers. I was teaching high school students. And I shared the information with them, and I realized that teaching was one of my callings when one of the parents of the students came to me and expressed their gratitude on the improvement that that their daughter had been making. And the daughter was in the store somewhere talking to some miscellaneous adult in the store, and was and they were having a religious, a Bible-based conversation, and the young lady was holding her own, and it was because of the information that we had discussed in class. So that was me accepting the fact that I was going to be teaching Christian education. So at that point, I began to listen and accept what God had in my life. So that began my education journey, my Christian education journey in 1999. So let's fast forward to 2012. Ministers, Christian ministers, we receive a spiritual calling. We believe God speaks to us and tells us in our spirit that we are being called to serve him in ministry. In 2012, I received my ministerial call to service. So that was in 2012. And in 2014, I preached my first sermon. And I have been preaching and teaching consistently ever since.
So, what was your first sermon about?
Don't be scared.
Don't
Second,
be scared.
coming out of 2 Timothy chapter 1, verse 7, chapter 2, verse 7. For God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of a sound mind. That was my first sermon. Don't be scared. And that, in essence, preachers are often taught, as you're preparing sermons, prepare a sermon that will speak to yourself. And as here I am about to embark on this ministerial journey and accepting that God, this is something that God has called me to do. So in acting in that calling that God has called me to do, there's nothing for me to be afraid of because God is going to take care of me. So there's no reason for me to be apprehensive. There's no reason for me to be scared. So I'm not scared. And I wanted to share that with the people. Don't be scared. What God has to do is for you. And don't be scared to act and move within your calling.
Okay, so let's go back to when you said God called you in your spirit.
Mm-hmm.
Explain to my audience exactly what that means. Is it a dream? Is it exactly what is it that you felt?
Everyone receives their calling in different ways. For me, it was a Tuesday morning. I was driving down Lakeshore Drive on my way to work. It was approximately 8 o'clock in the morning. I was coming around the bend where the McCormick, for those who know Chicago and Lakeshore Drive, is around the bend where the McCormick place is, McCormick Place, Soldier Field. And Jan, just as clear as I can hear you, God spoke, said, you will be my messenger. Just you will be my, just as clear as day. And I heard it, and I felt it. And let me tell you, it affected me so when I parked my car. So I'm on my way to work. I parked my car. I'm in the garage downtown, about to go to work. I called in to work and told them I'm going to be about 30 minutes or so late. And I just hung up. And I just sat there and reveled in the moment, shed some tears, reveled in the moment. I called my pastor. I called other preacher friends who were close to me to explain to them, like, I got the call. I wasn't excited. I was more amazed and shocked that I got the call. And of course, they were excited for me. They all individually, they prayed with me at that moment when I called them to acknowledge my call. So it was a voice for me. It was a voice I heard while I was driving to work one Tuesday morning.
Okay. So now, do you think there are people who, let's say, heard the call but ignored it? And if they did ignore it, or if they do ignore it, does it, in your opinion, does it keep happening in that it comes to a point when they just can't ignore it anymore, or do they just go on, in your opinion?
In my opinion, it's unavoidable. So I told the story about me being hesitant to teach. So I ignored and avoided my calling to teach for a moment. After I accepted that, I said, okay, God, whatever you say, I'm going to do it. I'm going to trust you. So I fought teaching. I fought teaching for a moment. But then I realized this is my lane. This is what I'm supposed to be doing. So when the time came and I received the call to preach, I already knew the voice. So I accepted that I accepted it, that it was my time, without hesitation, for preaching. I did hesitate to accept the call to teach back in '99, but when I got the call to preach by 2012, no hesitation whatsoever. And I believe when people avoid or ignore their calling, their life's not right. Their life's not right. Nothing works right for them. They don't feel right. They don't act right. Things around them don't come together like it should, because you're going against what God has in store for you. And do people go all of their lives without acknowledging their call? Yes. And I believe their lives are unnecessarily difficult because they don't accept their calling. Is my life problem free? No, not at all. Not at all. But with my calling and a solid spiritual foundation, I believe I can more easily deal with the challenges that life presents me.
Okay. So now you are a preacher. Now, in your preaching, there are some preachers who I would say are teachers, and then there's some preachers who are, I don't know how to describe it, but preach. Some teach, some preach.
Mm-hmm.
So, would you say, which one are you? You're the teacher?
I classify myself as a teacher preacher.
A teacher preacher.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, go ahead.
Because I'm in the practice, I make a concerted effort to educate the congregation, educate my audience on whatever the point is before you touch on their spiritual needs. I was taught you make an intellectual connection with the people, then you make the spiritual connection with the people. So I make a concerted effort when I present my sermons to make a intellectual connection, to teach them something. I always say, I always tell people, I'm going to learn you something, and then we're going to get on out of here.
Okay. So now, if let's say someone gets the calling, is it difficult to become an you are ordained. I know you're ordained because I went to your ordination, and it was the questions that they were asking, and I thought, oh my goodness. And I remember you weren't the only one, and there was one young man, and he was so nervous, and so tell me, in order to be ordained, if you get the calling, what do you have to go through?
Preparation. To put it in a nutshell, you have to prepare yourself. So traditionally, when an individual, and I'll just speak to how my church and my
Mm-hmm,
pastor is Dr. LaRue Franklin Kidd.
mm-hmm,
When an individual comes to my pastor and acknowledges their calling in the ministry, the first thing my pastor will do is send them to Sunday school. Send them to Sunday school. Make sure they have a good biblical foundation and a good understanding of Baptist doctrine and beliefs before you can get out here and stand before people and represent God and represent our body of believers. We need to ensure that you know what you're talking about, that you have been trained. So we are proponents of education, training, and preparation. So before we go through the ordination process, we go through at least a year of training and preparation. So I was licensed in 2014. I was licensed in 2014, which means I could marry and bury. I could marry people and bury people legally. Once I received my ordination, that that means I could then lead a congregation. I could become a pastor. Then I am now eligible to become a pastor. And for the record, I'm not in the running to be nobody's pastor. I,
I was going to ask you that question.
I was
Wait
cutting y'all.
a minute.
I was cutting. If it happens, it happens. If it happens, it happens. But I God has not presented that to me yet. Because God knows where I am in my life, and with pastoring a church and congregation, you take on the people and you take on the people's problems. So I don't believe I'm at that point in my life to take on a congregation full of people's problems. If God says differently, so be it. But I don't know. Not yet. Not at this point. Not where we at. August 24th, 2023. Nope.
Because that was my question, like, did you want to be the pastor of your own church one day? But as you said, you have not gotten that calling yet. Because I know when I did market, I promoted the show, I called you pastor. So that might be something, like in the universe that kind of, you know.
No, that was a typo. That wasn't the universe. That was a typo. But
So,
I am at the point in my Christian journey. I don't tell God what I want. I kind of walk the path and let God reveal it to me as it comes. And every time, without fail, God blows my mind.
okay. Okay. So, uh, uh, now you still have a 9 to 5.
I do.
So what do you do?
I am a 22-year employee for the city of Chicago. Specifically, I work for the Chicago Public Library. As you mentioned in my intro, I have a degree in computer science from Central State University, and I am in their IT department. I am one of the help desk supervisors. So when the staff call in with computer problems, I have a staff of guys that answer the phones to help or record the problem. So I am there direct supervisor.
Okay. Because I wonder, I'm like, okay, so I know you're a computer expert. I'm like, what does that have to do with being a minister? But you were on your way to your 9 to 5.
I was on my way.
When you got to college.
That's
So
right.
this is a loaded question. Do you think that there are some preachers who were not called, but they just decided that that's what they wanted to do for whatever reason?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So what? There are con artists and grifters in every field, and religion and theology is no exception.
Wow. Have you run across any?
Yeah.
Were there any that you said, you know what? That person evidently that's trying to be a preacher was not called.
Yes. Absolutely. Absolutely. Absolutely.
So how could you tell the difference?
Uh, Key terms and phrases. So here's what I was taught with ministry and music. With ministry and music, a lot of times in the ministry and music, they will not say God, Jesus, Lord, Holy Spirit. They will not in the music. I don't want to start quoting lyrics because
Okay.
I don't want to cause no problems. I don't cause no copyright issues.
Right.
But there's certain Christian music, not gospel music, certain Christian music that will not say the name Jesus, but they'll say him, you. So you have to be mindful of that. Preaching, gospel preachers, the culmination of most gospel sermons is Jesus being crucified and resurrected. If a sermon does not culminate with Jesus dying on the cross, being buried for 3 days, and raising and his resurrection, it's a trigger. It's a red flag for me. So I have to, and again, not every sermon is going to culminate like that, but I'm listening.
Okay.
And on a related note, when I go into churches or places of worship, when you go into the sanctuary, if there are no signs or symbols in the sanctuary that identify it as a place of Christian worship, that's a flag for me.
Okay. Okay. All right. So there's some questions that have come in, and what we're going to do is just go for a quick commercial, and we're going to come back with you, Arturo, the right Reverend Arturo, and and I want you to respond to these questions. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So we shall be right back. Do not go away. And if you have questions, just send them to me. Either text me at 773-443-2058. That's 773-443-2058. Or if you, depending on what kind of page you're on, if you're on YouTube, that's what you have to do. You have to text me. But if you're on Facebook or any of the other platforms, you can just shoot the question to me via the chat. So we'll be right back. Don't go away. Oh, they're coming in right now. Don't go away. Well, the internet is acting up as usual. It's supposed to be a storm up north, and it's probably doing something with the internet. But anyway, let's get back with the Right Reverend Arturo Barnes. Okay, the first question that came in, it says many have reported that a large percentage of people are leaving the church as a whole. Why do you think that this is happening?
Too many options. People are given too many options with the explosion of social media, YouTube and TikTok. Too many of the wrong people have been given a platform and have been drawing people's away from the church because the messages that they're delivering are what the people want to hear as opposed to what the people need to hear. A lot of these people with platforms are very charming, engaging, and entertaining. People are being distracted by entertainment more so than ministry. And there is a very fine line between ministry and entertainment. So people are being distracted. They have too many options. Too many of the wrong people have been given flat platforms because of due in part to social media and YouTube and the like.
Okay. Um, let's see. Um, Describe to us some challenges you had when you first started preaching.
Challenges I had when I first started preaching.
And how did you handle it? This is from a fellow Toastmaster, Vanessa.
Very good. Hey, Vanessa. How did I handle it? So I'm trying to think of the challenges, and I'm trying to think: is it a challenge that I've solved that I've overcome yet? That is an excellent question. One of the greatest challenges that I've faced is time management. Time management. I want one of personally one of my and so now this is a transparent moment. One of my biggest challenges that I face personally is managing the time to prepare the sermons.
Okay.
Oftentimes when I've been invited or assigned to preach, I immediately just to myself, I already start thinking about my sermon topic, the points I want to make, and what have you, the connections I want to make, but I don't put it down on paper or formulate it. And I often do not put an organized sermon together in the most timely manner. I'm not creating the content at the last minute. I oftentimes find myself just putting it together in speech format. As a Toastmaster, you understand that. So right now, time management in the preparation of my sermons is my biggest challenge.
Okay. So another question here is, what do you do when people don't accept the sermon that you have given?
I accept that they don't accept it. It is not my job to force the message down their throat. I believe when I'm preparing a sermon, I truly believe that God is speaking to me or using me to deliver a message to someone. The person who doesn't accept it may not be the someone that message was for. Oftentimes, after I've delivered a sermon, someone will come up to me and say, that message was for me. Everybody doesn't come up and say that. That message might not be for that person at that time. I accept it. Uh, I because I believe that God has called me to do this work. I have also accepted that everyone is not going to be receptive to it, and to use the vernacular, it's simply the nature of the beast. The nature of the beast.
Okay.
Everybody is not going to accept the message.
Okay. And the other question that came in is, where do you see yourself 5 to 10 years from now?
Preaching and teaching the word of God.
Okay. All right. Maybe over your own church. I'm throwing that in there. So I'm looking behind you and I see a keyboard.
Yes,
So you play.
I play several instruments.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Well, and they are.
I started playing the trumpet in fourth grade. I started playing the trumpet in
Really?
fourth grade. I played the trumpet from fourth grade through college. So I played in high. I played in element. I played in. We had a jazz band in elementary school. So in the elementary school jazz band, I played in the marching and concert band in high school, and I played in the marching and concert band in college at Central State. I play at the piano,
Okay.
and I am currently taking guitar lessons. So I am playing the guitar, and I believe the voice is an instrument, so I can carry a tune. I may not
Hello?
be able to sing, but I can carry a tune.
You can't sing, but you can sing.
There you go. There you go.
Well, you know what now? Uh-huh. So you have really put your foot in it, because at the there are some Toastmasters, I'm sure, from MJM Speaker Circle that are watching this. And so I am sure that in one of our meetings or with one of your presentations or speech, you really got to play the trumpet for us. And I don't remember a guitar. I'm gonna put you on the spot. I don't remember a keyboard in that room, but you can always bring your guitar.
Uh, I have no problem singing for you guys.
I didn't ask you that.
I haven't picked up a trumpet since 1999.
Really?
It would not be pretty. it would not be pretty. And we have to be mindful, Jan, that we have our meeting in a library. So
Well, yeah, that's
a
true.
trumpet would not be appropriate.
Okay. Well, Renita Dixon is saying so
Yeah.
many talents.
And I am certain I am not the only talented one in our group. I'm not the only multi-talented one in our group.
And let's see, Henrietta Brinson wants you to know that she is watching.
That's one of my church members, Dr. Henrietta Brent.
Oh, okay. All righty. Well, welcome, Henrietta, and Dr. Henrietta, and welcome, Renita. And also welcome to Vanessa, who
Yes.
texted something in. So okay, so now you play. Well, you were playing the trumpet, and you play the piano, and you're learning the guitar.
I own a harmonica.
Oh my God! So you play the harmonica
I
also.
I own a harmonica. Hear me clearly. But yeah, I'm not proficient, but I think I can play like Yankee Doodle and When the Saints Amazing. I can play Amazing Grace.
Oh, okay. Well,
I
that's
can play
good.
Amazing.
Okay. Well, you can play that in the library. So, I also know that you are on this journey of becoming a voiceover expert. Is that true?
Okay, so here's the story with that. I joined MJM Speaker Circle, a club of Toastmasters International, in 2019. At that time, Dr. Jan Fortman was the president of the club. As I began to spend time with the club and we got to know each other, Dr. Fortman encouraged me to pursue voiceover work. And since then, I have started establishing myself and marketing myself as a voiceover artist. And that is one of the things I plan on using to fund my way through graduate school is the voiceover work.
Okay, okay, and that's because I really like your voice, and especially when you're giving your presentations and all. Um, and another text came in, and this is from another one of your fellow Toastmasters, Gwen Dunbar, and she says, "We want a concert."
Tell it,
I'm
Gwen.
finished.
Uh-oh.
Arturo is very artistic. God has truly blessed him.
All right. Well, Gwen wants a concert. How about I open up for Ronnie Ray? How about that? I can open up for Ronnie Ray.
Well, see, if people have watched my previous shows, they would know that Gwen Dunbar is the mother of the world famous comedian Ronnie Ray. So, maybe Gwen just might communicate that to Ronnie Ray, and you just might be opening up. You never can tell. You never can tell. So now I'm looking at these other questions. I think that oh yeah, that was about it as far as the questions are concerned. So, is there anything? Are there in I'm looking to make sure. Oh, there is another question. Okay, we only got a few minutes to go, folks. So, Marcy Hill wants to know, hey Arturo, how does it feel to pursue your goal of voiceover work?
Hey, Marcy. Pursuing the goal of voiceover work, it gives me a sense of accomplishment. Um, I have 7 years until I retire from my 9 to 5. And so now I'm working to establish multiple streams of income beyond my 9 to 5. And the voiceover work is proving itself to be one of those streams of income that will, take care of me and my needs after my 9 to 5. So I'm excited to see what's in store. As I tell people that I'm pursuing a career in voiceover work, everybody tell me, "Oh, you got the perfect! Oh my goodness, you got the voice for it." So I get a lot of positive feedback about my pursuits in the voiceover world. So I'm excited to see what God has in store for me.
All righty. Well, guess what? Ronnie Ray says,
Yeah.
well, wait a minute. Tell him to come on. All righty now. So, Arturo, uh, I love this question that just came in. With all of your talents, tell us something that we don't know about you.
Something that you don't know about me. Well, I just told you about the instruments. I have quite an ambitious bucket list. I have quite an ambitious bucket list. So, one of the things on my bucket list, I desire to further my education. I currently have a bachelor's in computer science. This year in December, I will turn 48 years old. And now I am preparing myself for my 50s, that entire decade. I plan on spending my 50s in graduate school. I ultimately plan on earning 2 PhDs. I'm a glutton for punishment.
Yes, you are. I can tell you that. Yeah.
I
Okay.
I desire one academic PhD and one degree in a religious discipline, theology or ministry or something of that sort. The academic degree, which I will pursue first, will be a PhD in organizational leadership or organizational management, something to that effect. So that is something most people don't know that I plan on spending my. You're not going to see a lot of me in my 50s because I'm going to be hitting the books. So I'm weaning myself away from a lot of stuff that I'm involved in now to prepare myself for school in my 50s. I've actually even I work for the library, so I've actually started borrowing textbooks regarding organizational leadership and management to kind of get me back in the swing of things. I haven't been in school since 1997. I've been in school since 97, but I desire to go back. So I'm gradually ramping up to launch and when I turn 50.
So why organizational leadership?
I believe God has a movement within me uh,
Okay.
for my people, and when I say my people, I don't necessarily mean my skin folk, people of my skin color, not necessarily racially, but also religiously. So for Christians and those we'll just say marginalized
Okay.
people. I truly believe there is a movement within me, and to have earned a degree in organizational leadership or management, I believe I will learn some strategies to be most effective in creating and executing this movement. And to those people who are from Missouri, show me something,
Okay.
to show me people. To have a degree in organizational leadership or management, I believe that would prove me to show a degree of credibility as I, attempt to implement these strategies.
Okay. All right. So you will be the Right Reverend Dr. Arturo Barnes.
If the Lord says the same.
All righty. Oh, okay. So Arturo, we're about to wrap up. And what is a message? Now, this show is called Relationship Matters.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that on your journey, on both your journeys, your computer science journey, your musical journey, and your journey to becoming a minister, there have been probably particular relationships, personal and professional, that have gotten you to where you are.
Mm-hmm.
Give me, who are they? Who are these people?
All right. So of course, I'm going to start with my mother, Charlotte
Okay.
Warren.
Mm-hmm.
Charlotte Warren. That is my education and religious inspiration. One of my most profound, if that's the right word for it, religious and academic inspirations. My mother was one of the smartest people I know. I know. Um, for my ministerial journey, it begins with my senior pastor, Reverend A. Harold White, Reverend Dr. A. Harold White. He was one of the first people to teach me how to use my voice. At a young age, he taught me how to project, and he taught me how to speak with clarity. He taught me how to use my voice to fill a room without without the use of amplification, without the use of a microphone. I know how to use my voice to fill a room without a mic. My Christian education journey. Let me give some shout outs here. So we have my mother, Charlotte Warren. We have Reverend Dr. A. Harold White. We have Minnie Barfield. We have Letice Dubois, Claudia Cribbs. Did I say Gladys Gill? Um, Let's see. Willie Caldwell. Uh, and whether she knows it or not, one of my Christian education mentors is Dr. Henrietta Brinson.
Oh, okay.
Is one of our guests today. So that is a small list of the people who have influenced and inspired me thus far on my journey.
Okay. All righty. And Marcy Hill says it's excellent. All you're doing is excellent, and she's very, very excited for you. Now, your church, just in case someone wants to just come to Chicago, or you're already in Chicago, so this is where you can see or hear and experience the Right Reverend Arturo Barnes. If you're in Chicago or you're coming to Chicago, it's the True Light Church Baptist, 7300 South Maryland in Chicago, Illinois. And so church service starts at what time?
9:30 a.m. Central Time. Our services are streamed on Facebook, YouTube, and Zoom. The pastor is Dr. LaRue Franklin Kidd. And I also want to mention that this year, True Light is celebrating our centennial. We are 100 years old, and we have been celebrating all year long.
Wow. Well, congratulations. Congratulations. And Reverend Arturo Barnes, I really, really want to thank you for being a guest on Relationship Matters TV. It was a plum pleasing pleasure.
Dr. Foreman, thank you for the invite.
So I will see you when I see you.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.
I should see you on one of these Toastmasters meeting days. Yeah.
One of them. One of them.
One of them. One of them. So thank you so much. You have a beautifully blessed rest of your evening.
Oh, and I'll close it the way I opened it.
Oh God. Okay, for you all who just came in, he's an alpha,
That's all right.
alpha man. So,
Oldest and the coldest. Oldest and the coldest.
oh, okay, all right, okay. But I have had some omegas and some kappas on here, so
Well,
but
everybody makes mistakes.
ooh, they're not gonna like that. All right, Arturo, you take care.
All right, take care.
Okay, bye-bye. Well, that was I really, really, really enjoyed that interview or that conversation, I should say, and I hope that all of you have enjoyed it also. So this is Dr. Jan Foreman with Relationship Matters TV, and what I'm going to do now, the sun has gone down, and I'm going to step outside uh, just to see if it's still hot. Oh, yes, it is. As a matter of fact, I looked down here and it says it's still 91 degrees. Oh, well, but the sun is down, so I'm going to step outside. So, what I want you to remember is that there are all kinds of relationships and all kinds of relationship matters. And how you communicate is the why of your relationships. That is a Janism. All righty. Okay. See you again next week on Relationship Matters TV. Bye bye.